Hello, my name's Phil Parnham. I'm a Chartered Building Surveyor, and in this video I want to talk you through how I approach carrying out inspections of residential property. Although I like to think that I follow best practice, this is not a definitive guide. This is just how I prefer to do it. And hopefully this will give those people who are new to residential surveying a helpful and useful guide. I guess I should have put my overshoes on before I went into the house to begin with, but at least I put them on before I used the carpeted stairs. Because these overshoes can be slippy, you should take extra care as you go up the stairs. The first job is to locate the loft hatch and work out where it would be best to set the ladder. I always check whether any rugs are secure. I don't want to be halfway up the ladder only to feel the ladder's moving away from me. Removing the loft hatch is the first task. The way I do this is to extend the ladder to just above door height and set it against an adjacent wall. As long as it's close enough, this enables me to climb the ladder, lift the loft hatch and set it to one side in the loft space itself. As you can see, I'm having a little trouble extending the ladder. For some reason, to partially extend this type of ladder, you have to extend it from the bottom. This leaves a short person like me stretching a little bit too much to get it above the doorway. If the loft hatch hasn't been opened for some time, both me and, more importantly, the vendor's smart carpet can get covered with dust and dirt. One way of avoiding this sort of problem is to lay a small dust sheet on the landing to catch anything that falls down. The other problem that can occur is damage to the decorations caused by the ladders itself. Most types of ladder have rubber or plastic protectors fitted to the top rung, and these are capable of leaving ugly black marks on neatly decorated walls. Some practitioners put tape over these end protectors, and I've even seen old gloves fitted over the top of ladder ends. I've always carried a few decorators' wipes for getting rid of any offending marks before the occupiers notice. Once I've set the loft hatch aside, I dismantle the ladder, but with great care, as I don't want to break my fingers, and set it up in a new position where I can easily extend it to its full height and provide safe access into the loft space itself. As usual, you should apply the normal rules when extending the ladder. You should set it at a safe angle using the 1:4 ratio. That's the distance between the wall and the base of the ladder should be 1/4 of its own overall height. In some cases, where the landing is small, you may not be able to meet this requirement. Obviously, we all have to be flexible, but steeper the ladder, the more likely it is to topple backwards when you start to climb up. If you are not happy with the space you've got, then abandon the loft inspection, but remember to tell your client in the report. If you can extend the ladder, it should go into the loft by at least 900 millimeters, usually about 3 rungs. This is to make sure that you have something to hold on to when you get off and get back onto the ladder. The next problem is sorting out how to carry all my tools and equipment that I'll need in the loft without losing my footing as I climb the ladder. To do this, I prefer to wear a tool belt. Although it makes me look like a member of the village people, I can carry all the things I need and still leave my hands free. The sort of things I usually take into the loft includes a moisture meter, a laser measuring device, a small tape for measuring the sizes of rafters and other timber members, a pocket probe. I usually use a bradawl so I can test the soundness of timber where I suspect insect attack, a digital camera, pens and pencils of course, magnifying glass just in case I want to study any flight holes more closely, a head torch, which I think is essential, and a clipboard. This is obviously too large to fit in the tool belt and is the only thing I carry in my hands as I climb the ladder. The final thing I have to do before I go in the loft is fit my face mask. This can be difficult to get right, especially when you wear glasses. However, lofts are dusty, dirty places, and without a face mask, at best you could end up with an annoying cough, at worst a chest infection, especially if birds and other animals have been in the loft before you. Many practitioners also wear disposable gloves, especially if there's a lot of insulation up there. To avoid getting dusty, some will also wear overalls, usually the disposable type. Personally, I've never been too keen on these. I find it hot and sticky enough up there already, especially during the summer. Once I'm all tooled up, I'm at last ready to go in the loft. Always take care when first climbing a ladder to make sure you do not bump your head on the hatch opening, adjacent parts of the roof structure and any stored items. You're never quite sure what you'll find, so be cautious at this stage. I also check around for other hazards, such as poorly stacked possessions, unstable roof structure and coverings, exposed wires, a flock of snoozing pigeons and a bulbous wasp nest just above your head. Other less obvious hazards might include asbestos-containing materials such as pipe lagging, thermal insulation and cement-based boarding. If everything else looks okay, I will eventually get off the ladder. The top 3 rungs provide a stable hold while I orientate myself and find a firm stepping off point and part of the roof structure on which I can hold. This loft is relatively well insulated and most of the ceiling joists are concealed. That poses 2 problems. It is not appropriate to step onto the concealed ceiling joists. It may be tempting to use your foot to feel through the insulation for something firm on which to stand, but you will not know for sure whether it will support your weight. For example, it could be a pipe or some other weaker part of the structure. It is beyond the scope of most survey products to spend time rolling back the insulation to discover the position of the joists, as the insulation would have to be refitted once the inspection is complete. In many cases, this will mean loft space inspections cannot go ahead. If this is the case, take a few photos of the circumstances, make a note of the restrictions in your site notes, and again, make sure you tell the client in the report. In this loft, an electrician has recently installed downlighters to the bedrooms below and has failed to replace the insulation she moved. This gives me a series of visible stepping points, and although it'll still be a struggle, I think it's possible. One of the reasons for walking across the loft space is to inspect the underside of the chimney on the party wall line. From the outside, I noticed the chimney was unusually constructed, poorly pointed, and some of the bricks had deteriorated quite badly. Any of these problems could cause dampness and rot in the roof structure below, so they need to be checked out. Following this trail of suspicion proved worthwhile as I recorded a number of high moisture meter readings to the rafters and brickwork in that area. While walking through the loft space, you should also take a representative sample of moisture meter readings to the adjacent rafters and closely check some of these timbers for wood boring defects, wood rot, splits and other forms of damage. Although I managed to get over to the base of the chimney, there is still a lot of the roof space I couldn't see. As I've said before, it's not the practitioner's role to move stored items or roll back insulation. So in most circumstances, a full inspection of the loft is still not possible, but you have to tell the client which parts that you didn't see. Even if you can't get off the ladder, there's still a lot you can do. For example, you may be able to find a safe stepping off point adjacent to the hatch where you can stand to look around the loft. This is no substitute for a full inspection, but at least the added height may enable you to see more clearly. If this is not possible, then get as high up the ladder as you can, but no higher than the third rung from the top, and look around. Modern digital cameras with zooms and flashes can give you a good impression of what secrets this loft space could contain. Remember not to leave any of your equipment in the loft, and take care when replacing the loft hatch, because the vendor is often watching you like a hawk. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. There are a number of other different sorts of episodes, and you might find those of interest as well. And to access these, just go through your normal online account. Thanks for watching.